cold silence of space stretched for millions of kilometers. The human dreadnought ship Valor floated quietly near the edge of a distant solar system. Its sensors were scanning for signals, but all they found was empty darkness. Then, a faint beep broke the quiet. The crew leaned forward, eyes wide. The sound was weak, almost lost in the static. A communications officer, Lieutenant Mira, adjusted the frequency. "It's a distress call," she said, her voice trembling slightly. "But it's strange, very strange." Captain Roland stood behind her, arms crossed. He was a tall man, with a face carved from years of battles and hard choices. "Play it again," he ordered. "I want every word, clearly. Nothing is to be missed," the signal repeated. This time the words were clearer. SOS, Deathworld, survivors, unknown enemy, cannot hold. The voice was weak, broken by static, but the fear in it was real. It sounded like a colony worker, maybe the last person left alive on a planet no one had dared visit for decades. The crew exchanged worried glances. Deathworld was known in human space as one of the deadliest planets. No human colony had lasted there for more than a few months. The planet's atmosphere was toxic in places, the storms violent, and the native life forms aggressive and extremely dangerous. Now, someone was sending a call for help from that nightmare. "Sir, this could be a trap," warned Commander Yarrick, the ship's second-in-command. "We don't know who or what is sending this. It might be a lure to draw us into danger." Captain Roland shook his head. "We cannot ignore it. If humans are alive there, we owe them our help. Dreadnoughts respond where others fear to go," he said firmly, his voice echoing confidence, though inside, even he felt a cold shiver. The crew prepared the ship for a jump into the planet's orbit. Everyone worked quickly. Weapons were checked, shields reinforced, and emergency pods rigged. Outside, the stars shone cold and distant, indifferent to the small human ship racing toward unknown danger. As the Valor moved closer to Deathworld, the signals grew stronger. Mira noticed a pattern in the SOS. It wasn't just random panic. The caller seemed to be describing something alive, intelligent, and terrifying. "It's not just a colony under attack," she whispered. "Whatever is out there is hunting them." Captain Roland studied the readings carefully. The energy spikes, the strange heat signatures, the faint movement in the shadows, it all suggested that the enemy was fast, smart, and already aware of the humans' approach. The dreadnoughts had faced alien threats before, but this felt different, more dangerous. The bridge fell silent as the signal continued. Every crew member felt the weight of what they were about to face. They were not just going to rescue people. They were stepping into a battlefield where almost nothing had survived before. Finally, Roland spoke. "Prepare for descent. We go in, light, fast, and precise. We find the survivors, we bring them home, and we show Deathworld that humans never leave one of their own behind." The Valor shuddered as it entered the planet's upper atmosphere. Outside, lightning cracked across dark clouds. Strange shapes moved in the swirling storms, and the cold surface of Deathworld seemed ready to swallow them whole. Inside the ship, the crew braced themselves. The SOS continued, a fragile lifeline, cutting through the danger. Every word, every broken syllable, was a reminder that someone, somewhere, was still alive, waiting for them to arrive. Captain Roland clenched his fists. "This is only the beginning," he said quietly, almost to himself. "And humans do not give up." The dreadnought ship Valor broke through the thick clouds of Deathworld outside. Lightning flashed across a dark, stormy sky. The winds howled like a living creature. The planet was more terrifying than any sensor could fully describe. Captain Roland stood on the bridge, watching the chaos below. "Sensors are reading multiple heat signatures," said Lieutenant Mira. They're moving. Fast. Too fast for normal wildlife." Commander Yarrick frowned. "Could be the colony survivors," he said cautiously. "Or something else entirely." The Valor's landing craft prepared to descend. Thick smoke and jagged mountains covered most of the planet. Rivers of glowing acid ran through deep valleys. The ship shook as it pierced the atmosphere. Every second felt like an eternity. As the landing craft touched down, a low rumble echoed across the surface. Trees bent violently under unseen winds, and strange screeches echoed in the distance. The soldiers inside gripped their seats, ready for anything. Deathworld had no mercy. When the ramp opened, the humans stepped out carefully. The ground was soft and steaming, with strange plants that hissed when touched. The air was thick with toxins, forcing them to rely on their breathing masks. Every shadow seemed alive, every sound a threat. "Move in formation," Roland ordered. "Eyes open. We don't know what we will face." The first signs of the colony appeared. Shattered buildings, overturned vehicles, scorch marks, and deep-clawed tracks leading into the jungle. It was clear the place had been attacked violently, and whoever survived had barely escaped. A faint movement caught Mira's eye. She aimed her scanner. Something small, fast, and dark vanished before she could get a clear reading. "They're here," she whispered, "and they're not afraid of us." The team advanced cautiously. Every step brought new horrors. Skeletal remains twisted into unnatural shapes, walls torn apart, and strange markings carved into the ground. The aliens, or whatever, had attacked, were clever and brutal, leaving warnings as much as killing. Suddenly, a scream shattered the air. The humans froze. It came from deeper in the forest. Roland signaled for a team to investigate. They moved quickly, weapons raised, hearts pounding. The scream ended abruptly, replaced by an eerie silence. Through the mist, they saw movement again. A dark figure darted from tree to tree. It moved faster than anything human, almost like it could vanish at will. The soldiers fired, but their shots barely grazed it. Whatever it was hunting them, learning their tactics. Roland clenched his fists. "Keep moving," he commanded. "We need survivors. Stay sharp. Watch everything. This world wants to kill us. We will not give it the satisfaction." Hours passed, and the team reached the central area of the colony. The buildings were partially destroyed, with strange, glowing symbols covering the walls. Mira scanned the air. The readings were abnormal energy spikes, movement beneath the ground, shadows that didn't match anything alive. "Captain," Garrick said, his voice tense, "this is worse than we thought. It's not just a simple attack. Something intelligent is controlling this planet. It's hunting us." Roland nodded grimly. "Then we show it that humans do not run. We adapt. We fight. We survive. We find those who are alive, and we bring them home." As the sun began to set behind dark clouds, strange sounds rose all around them. Growls, shrieks, and whispers carried by the wind. The humans tightened their formation. The hunt had begun. Death was awake, and it was aware of them. Every step forward was a test of courage. Every shadow could be the last. But Roland and his team knew one thing. Humans never leave one of their own behind, and they would not let Deathworld win without a fight. The humans moved carefully through the twisted remains of the colony. Every shadow seemed alive. Every sound made their hearts jump. They had expected danger, but nothing could have prepared them for what was coming. Suddenly, movement flashed across the clearing, dark, fast, and silent. Lieutenant Mira raised her scanner, but the creature vanished before the readings could stabilize. "It's intelligent," she whispered. "It knows we're here." Captain Roland signaled the team to spread out in a defensive formation. The ground shook beneath them as something massive moved in the distance. Shadows shifted unnaturally. Something was stalking them, studying their every move. Then, with a sudden roar, a creature burst from the trees. Its body was covered in dark, armored plates. Claws sharp enough to tear steel glinted under the stormy light. Its eyes burned with a strange intelligence, tracking each soldier, calculating each move. The Dreadnoughts opened fire, but the creature was too fast. It dodged, leaped, and disappeared again into the mist. Another screech sounded from the trees, and dozens of smaller figures darted toward them, moving with frightening coordination. "Form up. Keep your backs covered," Roland shouted. The team fired with precision, but the alien swarm pressed closer. Their movements were unnatural, almost like they were connected to a single mind. Every attack was anticipated before it happened. One soldier, Private Terran, was grabbed by a shadow and dragged into the darkness. His scream echoed, then vanished. The team tried to follow, but it was gone. The humans realized the planet itself was alive, using its creatures as extensions of its will. Mira's scanner picked up something alarming. "Captain, the readings. They're analyzing us, learning us. Every movement we make, every tactic. They adapt," she said, her voice tense. Roland clenched his fists. "Then we adapt faster. That's what humans do. They think they can outsmart us. We'll show them why humans survive." The team pressed forward carefully, marking paths and setting traps. The alien swarm tried to flank them, but the humans used quick thinking, laying improvised barriers and lures. Even in the face of terrifying strength, their discipline held them together. Suddenly, a massive shadow moved above the trees. The sky darkened, and lightning revealed the shape of a huge predator. Its eyes glowed, and it roared, a sound that shook the ground. The Dreadnoughts fired everything they had, but their weapons only slowed it. Roland stepped forward, his voice calm but firm. "Hold the line. Do not fall back. Humans have faced impossible odds before, and we will do it again. We fight for survival. We fight for our own." The shadow descended, and the team prepared for the fight of their lives. The creatures were intelligent, deadly, and relentless, but so were the humans. Every mind, every muscle, every strategy was focused on one goal: survive, adapt, and protect each other. As the storm raged around them, the humans realized something chilling. This was not a random attack. The enemy was organized, planning, and waiting for them. That colony had not just been destroyed, it had been studied, and now the hunt had begun in earnest. Roland looked at his team, his face grim but determined. "This is the world. It wants us dead. But we are humans. We survive, we fight, and we will not let nothing take our own without a fight." The Dreadnoughts moved cautiously through the destroyed colony. The creatures had disappeared for now, but the air still felt alive, as if the planet itself was watching. Every sound made the soldiers flinch, and every shadow seemed to move on its own. Lieutenant Mira scanned the ruins. Among the broken walls and twisted metal, she found something unusual, a data terminal still flickering weakly. "Captain," she called, "this may tell us what happened here." Captain Roland approached, his eyes narrowing. "Show me," he said. The terminal screen displayed files, logs, and recordings from the colony. Most were corrupted or damaged, but fragments of messages were still readable. One recording caught Roland's attention, a scientist's voice, panicked and trembling. "We never should have touched it. The experiment. It's awake. We cannot control it." So as the recording ended with a scream, followed by static, Mira's hands trembled. "They were experimenting with alien technology," she said quietly. "Something dangerous. Something that may have caused this attack." Roland clenched his jaw. "So this isn't random." The colony drew the enemy's attention, and now it wants revenge, he said grimly. "That explains why they're organized, why they know our moves. This is bigger than we thought." As the team moved deeper into the colony, strange things began to happen. Shadows shifted unnaturally. Whispers echoed through the air vents. Some of the team reported seeing brief glimpses of figures moving just at the edge of vision. It was as if the planet itself was alive, reacting to their presence. Then they found survivors, but they were not normal humans. Their skin was pale, eyes glowing faintly, and their movements jerky and unnatural. One survivor, barely conscious, muttered, It changed us. We can't stop it." Commander Yarrick studied them carefully. "They're infected, mutated, or controlled. Whatever the experiment was, it left them altered. They may be dangerous now," he warned. Roland nodded. "We treat them carefully. We protect them, but we watch for signs of threat. This is the risk we take when humans reach too far into things we do not understand," he said, his voice calm but firm. Suddenly, a low rumble shook the ground. The alien creatures returned, moving in coordinated patterns, not randomly. It was as if the colony's experiments had awakened something intelligent, something that now controlled both the planet and its creatures. Mira's scanner picked up multiple energy spikes beneath the surface. "Captain, there's a central point. Something is controlling them. Something big," she said. "We need to find it before it finds us." Roland studied the readings. "Then, that is our next move. We go to the source, discover the secret, and stop it if we can. Humans never give up, and we never run from a fight," he said, determination in every word. As the Dreadnoughts prepared to move toward the planet's core, a figure appeared in the shadows. Its eyes glowed, and it watched them with intelligence and malice. For a brief moment, the humans felt the weight of Deathworld's gaze. Then it disappeared, leaving only the whisper of danger in its wake. The storm raged outside. Strange symbols glowed faintly on the walls, pulsing as if alive. The survivors, altered by unknown forces, muttered warnings. Every piece of evidence pointed to one truth. The colony's secret had unleashed something unstoppable. and the humans were now at the center of a terrifying puzzle. Roland looked at his team. This is no longer just a rescue mission. It's a battle for survival and understanding. Whatever waits for us at the heart of Deathworld, we face it together. And humans do not give up. The Dreadnoughts moved cautiously toward the glowing heart of Deathworld. Every step was heavy with tension. The ground trembled beneath their feet, and strange shadows twisted along the jagged rocks. The storm above raged with unrelenting fury. Lieutenant Mira scanned the area. Captain, multiple life signs, enormous readings. The creature, or whatever controls them, is massive, she said, voice tight with worry. Captain Roland tightened his grip on his weapon. Now we face it head on. Humans adapt. Humans survive. That is what we do, he said firmly, leading the team forward. As they approached a clearing, the air seemed to vibrate with energy. A massive figure emerged from the shadows. Its body was armored with black, chitin-like plates, and its eyes glowed with an unnatural light. It roared, a sound that shook the trees and sent waves of fear through the team. The creatures from earlier surged forward, surrounding the humans in coordinated waves. The Dreadnoughts opened fire. Bullets, energy blasts, and explosives cut through the air, but the swarm kept coming, relentless and clever. One soldier fell, snatched by a huge claw, but Roland pressed on. Hold the line, protect each other. Humans never give up. The massive enemy moved with terrifying speed, striking with claws and tail. Mira fired the ship's portable energy cannon, scoring direct hits, but it barely slowed the creature. It seemed almost invincible, adapting to every attack. Commander Yarek noticed a pattern. Captain, aim for the energy spikes on its back. That's its weakness. Roland nodded, signaling the team. Focus fire. Hit it together. Precisely. Now. Explosions rocked the clearing. The massive creature screeched, staggering under concentrated fire. The smaller creatures faltered as well, their connection to the main enemy disrupted. The humans pressed forward, using speed, teamwork, and intelligence to stay ahead. Suddenly, one of the mutated survivors lunged from the shadows. Roland raised his weapon, but Mira shouted, "Wait! They're controlled, but they're trying to warn us." The survivor pointed toward a glowing structure partially buried in the ground. Pulsing with energy, Roland understood immediately. "That's the core. Destroy it, and we end this," he said. The team rushed forward under heavy fire, dodging claws and energy blasts. Mira planted explosive charges on the glowing core, her hands steady despite the danger. Seconds felt like hours. The main creature roared, attempting to stop them, but coordinated human strategy held it back. Finally, Mira triggered the charges. A brilliant explosion lit the clearing, shaking the ground violently. Energy waves rippled outward, throwing creatures off balance. When the smoke cleared, the massive enemy lay defeated. The smaller creatures scattered, confused and disoriented. The humans had survived against impossible odds, using courage, intelligence, and teamwork, the very essence of HFY. Captain Roland looked around at his team. "We adapted. We survived. Humans never give up. That is what makes us strong," he said, voice calm but proud. The storm began to subside. The survivors, mutated but alive, gathered around the humans. They had been rescued, and the colony's secret had been contained, at least for now. But the planet still hummed with energy, a reminder that Deathworld was alive and dangerous. Roland turned toward the horizon. "We've won this battle, but the war may not be over. Humans face challenges no one else can, and we will rise, always," he said, signaling the team to regroup and prepare for extraction. As they left the clearing, the glow from the planet's core faded, but in the shadows, faint movements hinted that Deathworld's secrets were not entirely gone. The humans had survived, but the story of Deathworld was far from finished. The Dreadnoughts walked through the smoking ruins of the colony. The storm had finally eased, leaving an eerie silence over Deathworld. The ground still trembled faintly, as if the planet itself was sighing. Captain Roland looked around at his team, exhausted, bruised, but alive. They had faced creatures faster, stronger, and smarter than anything recorded in human history, and they had survived. Humans never gave up, and today was proof. The surviving colonists gathered, some altered by the alien experiments, but all grateful to be alive. Mira scanned them carefully. "They're stable, For now, she said, we need to get them back to a safe zone. Roland nodded. Prepared the extraction pods. We leave nothing behind. Human lives are priceless, and we owe them safety, he said firmly. His voice steady despite the long battle. As the team worked, the planet continued to pulse with faint energy. The destroyed alien core had left a lingering hum, almost like a heartbeat. Mira frowned. Captain, there are still energy readings. Small ones. Scatters something. Is still alive, she warned. Roland's eyes narrowed. Then we remain alert. Deathworld may be quiet, but it is not finished. We've survived the battle, but the war is far from over, he said. Determination in every word. The survivors climbed into the pods. The humans covered them, keeping watch as they ascended to the Dreadnought ship. Every shadow, every sound, kept the team tense. Deathworld had shown them its worst, and the planet's mysteries were far from solved before leaving.